Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the eighth, already on number eight, man, eighth episode of Keeping It on the DL. My name's Dave, and unfortunately, it is just me today. Lambert is feeling a little bit under the weather, couldn't make it. Um, Lambert, brother, wish you a speedy recovery. It's nothing serious, but you know, but man, hope you feel better soon. But hey, we're doing the solo dolo thing, man. We're gonna have a great show today. Hope you're excited. Stick around, hang out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. If you're new around here, if you're not too familiar with how the show works and all that fun stuff, uh very simple. A couple things you gotta do for me first. One, be sure to check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. Be sure you leave a like on this video if you enjoy the podcast, if you enjoy the show, as well as let us know in the comments down below what you think, your various takes, thoughts, questions you may have for myself and for Lambert. Um, and if you find yourself coming here regularly, obviously be sure to subscribe. It's completely free, and that way you know every time when we post these episodes. But we got a big show planned for today. Um, Again, if you're not familiar with it, man, it's very simple, very straightforward. Talk about some gaming stuff, talk about some, entertainment, things we're interested there. Uh, Excuse me. And then we transition over into football. We talk about the NFL, obviously some big stuff happening there in that world too. So I'm going to give my various thoughts, takes on all of that. So, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, grab yourself a drink, whatever you want to do. It's just gonna be me and my thoughts and my opinions for today's episode, and should be fun. Should be fun. If you guys know me, like again, my name's Dave, but um, I have my own YouTube channel. I didn't do it 97. That's my all my gaming content, and a little over a year ago, I actually decided that I wanted to do a podcast, and I only did a couple episodes of it, but I mean, it was fun. And like the very first episode was just me. It was just me talking about various things at that time. But so I like to talk. Still should be fun. Still should be a good time. Only difference is you don't get somebody else's input. Although typically we tend to share the same input, so like it's kind of the same ultimately at the end of the day. It's really no different there. Um, Before we jump into everything, though, two things. One, I want to thank everybody who does watch and who does, again, who watches everything regularly and keeps up with everything going on. Myself, Lambert, we greatly appreciate it. We love you for it. Um, and second thing, man, you guys know me. I'm a big sports fan, big sports guy, big Lakers fan, which can be a little rough right now, but growing up, I was a big Kobe Bryant guy. That was probably my most favorite athlete. Of out of any of my favorite athletes of all time. And today, as of this recording, I don't know when I'm going to upload this. I don't know if I'm uploading this later today or tomorrow, but today, as of this recording, today marked 3 years since the tragic death of him, his daughter, and all the families that were in his helicopter when it crashed. And I got to say, man, like that the day that happened was crazy for me. It was a crazy day. Like I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like there's not too many celebrity deaths that have ever bothered me. Paul Walker was one of them. He was a big one for me. Um, and Kobe Bryant. I mean, they've really only been the only two that have ever impacted me. But man, Kobe, that one hurt. That one hurt because, like, again, it was just one of those things you didn't expect it to happen out of nowhere, obviously, and you didn't believe it either, right? Like when I was at work, my boss or one of my bosses, he came up to me. I'm doing my thing, and comes up to me and he's like, "So, did you hear the news?" And I'm like, "No, no. What news? What are we talking about?" Like, Kobe died. Like, no. I didn't believe him. Literally didn't believe him. I was like, no, there's no way. And I'm like, well, where are you seeing that? He's like, TMZ. I'm like, yeah, if it's TMZ reporting it first, sometimes I don't believe that. And then it was about like 20, 30 minutes later, I think was when you started seeing other outlets, confirming it outside of, just TMZ's report. And man, it didn't really hit me until I got home that night. Like, I remember coming home that night and I bawled. Like, I just bawled my eyes out like a baby. Um, that was that was a tough one, man. Um, that was a tough one. Um, and even like still to this day, like it still doesn't feel real, man. Still doesn't feel real. And again, obviously, I never met the guy. Like, what I mean? It's not like he was my friend or anything like that. But it's one of those things. And I know we talk about this NFL strictly mostly on this show, and usually we save sports for the end, and I'm still gonna save sports for the end. I just wanted to kind of touch on this. It's with athletes, man. Like, we talk about how these guys get paid millions to go out and just play a game, right? For their living, and to go out and entertain us. But for a lot of people, I don't think they realize just the impact that they can have on a person's life as a mentor, right? Like, as someone to look toward, to look up to, right? Um, you think back to the day, or back in the day rather, um, when you know when Jordan was becoming Jordan, right? When he became, you in my opinion, the GOAT. Um, and he he had the Gatorade commercial, right? I want to be like Mike, right? And there's a reason for that, right? It was more than just this superstar, right? This legendary basketball player or anything like that. It was, again, man, part of it for some people is the mentality, right? Like the mindset that you bring each and every day, and what makes them great, right? And for me, that's partially how I fell in love with Kobe, man. Like, was literally that mindset, that mentality that he carried, right? That Black Mamba persona. That for him was more than just a persona. It was truly who he was. And yeah, man, Kobe, we miss you, love you. Um, you know, thoughts obviously go out still to this day to all the other families involved as well. And it's crazy to think, man. 3 years, 3 years. But anywho, on some more positive note, right? So, um, Call of Duty, right? Something that Lambert and I talk about on the show a lot, and reason being is because we're both big COD fans, have been all our lives really, and Modern Warfare 2, we in Warzone 2, like we've given our thoughts and opinions on that, quite a bit, um, and season 2 was supposed to drop, I believe, like February 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, and they delayed it. That info got leaked, saying that they were going to delay it and potentially make changes because they saw a bigger drop in player base, or just player count in general, um, than they expected, and it kind of made them hit the pause button on what they were doing. And last week they announced that um, they made an official announcement saying that they're delaying season 2 until I think the 14th, 15th, February 15th, and uh, that they listen to us, and they're gonna make some changes. Yesterday they came out with a full blog post of all those changes. And I'm not going to read the entire thing to you guys. You can always just go on the Call of Duty website and look it up that way, or just go to their Twitter, either or, and that'll show you everything. However, thanks to Modern Warzone, who you know, solid Warzone streamer, go check him out. He's over on Twitch. He's not actually affiliated with with Call of Duty as a like a, an employee with them. Just want that to be clear because a lot of people tweet at him thinking he is, which is kind of funny. But sorry. Anywho, he tweeted out pretty much like the Cliff Notes version of everything going on as far as some of the changes that they announced. Three play vest removed, so technically it's not removed, but it's essentially been reverted. So now, right now, you spawn in, you only have two plates, and you can find the three play vest or the satchel. That gives you the purple tier armor, which is really stupid. That is a dumb concept. Well, that's gone. Right now, you automatically spawn in with the three plate system. You might only spawn in with two. They didn't really go into detail on it. You might possibly only spawn in with two, and then you got to go find a plate to get to the third plate. But I mean, you find plates all the time. That's not an issue, and that's how Warzone was as well. So not a big deal. But yeah, so no more, that extra tier of armor, which is awesome because it evens the gunfight, which is it's better. And it keeps the time to kill slightly higher in comparison, which is also good. Because I think the time to kill is just way too high. 1v1 Gulag is back and now flag objective, so no more jailer. Which is thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. 2v2 Gulag just not sounded decent on paper originally, and then like in practice when you actually do it, you're like, yeah, no, we're good here. So again, huge W there. Movement improvements while plating. Now this is interesting because they didn't go into full detail. Like they talked about it a little bit, but they didn't really give like full blown specifics on it. It sounds like you will move faster, but you still won't be sprinting while plating. So that's gonna be one of those things. Like we'll just see how it feels in the moment, kind of deal, and we'll go from there. You can also plate and move through doors now, which is good. Let me rephrase. I say now again because these are all things that already existed. But lootable backpacks removed, which is awesome. Huge W. Because that whole backpack system, it was just bad. I mean, the backpack system is still a thing. I believe, I believe you could still find like medium and large backpacks. I don't remember. I think I feel like they said something about it in the full length patch notes. I can't. It was a whole day ago, so I just don't remember. And I read it when I was like half asleep, so there's that. But what's great about that is that now, so like when you kill a player, their backpack or duffel bag, it falls to the ground, and then you have to go into that bag and then grab, whatever, which is really annoying, because it's a slower process and it's easier to get killed while you're in that menu and that UI. It's horrible. So now you get what's known as vomit looting. It's where all their loot just spawns out onto the floor in front of you. Hopefully, I really hope it spreads when it does that and doesn't all just kind of spawn on top of each other like a lot of the loot does right now. Because that's an issue. Which, I mean, that was also an issue in Warzone 1, for a while. But we'll see what happens. Audio occlusion changes, which with that they mostly spoke about that for multiplayer and not so much for Warzone. So I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have on Warzone. don't even really know what kind of impact that's going to have on multiplayer. To be honest, um, customizable perk packages, which is awesome. They did say that they were removing a couple perks, potentially, at least for the time being. As far as what you could throw into the customizable perk packages, hopefully Bird's Eye is one of those that they either remove or are going to tweak and change. And then now two loadout events instead of just the one. So there will be one at the end of the first circle, and another one in the fifth circle. So just like Warzone one, all these things are all it's all great, and it's just all essentially what the game was, right? So um, I think huge W, right? I think this is how the game should have been from the beginning, not you know how far along are we? I mean, it technically came out in November, but like the COD Next event when they first showcased the gameplay. I mean, that was what September or something like that. You know what I mean? So, um, all of that should have been. This all should have been in there already. They should have just built upon this and make it better and improve it, and bring it to a whole new level. Not try to just change everything and start from brand new groundwork. I didn't understand that thought process at all. And what's interesting is that some people are actually not too happy with these changes. Me personally, I love it. I love it. You're going back to making it more like Warzone One, which is awesome. I think that's what I would say the majority of the community wanted. Um, and I think it's going to make things a lot more fun, especially once they bring back Resurgence, and that more small scaled gameplay, for a VR. So yeah, I think that's gonna make that a lot of fun. I think that you're gonna see the pacing to a lot of games be a lot better. Um, all in all, man, I'm excited. Some of the things that weren't talked about in this tweet as well. You're gonna see changes to the loadout system. So loadout drops are gonna be a little bit cheaper. I believe the price of your primary weapons is gonna stay the same. I think. They didn't mention pricing, as far as like actual dollar amounts. The strongholds are still going to exist, as well as like black sites, but that's also going to potentially change as far as that goes. So we'll kind of see how all that works out. Which I mean, I'm somewhat okay with it. Like presents that extra challenge. It's annoying when you come across a random stronghold because of the way the zone pulls or whatever, and you kind of have to go through it and deal with it. And then you got AI who give away your positioning or some nonsense like that. That part's not so great, but it is what it is. Uh, so yeah, like that was something that they talked about. DMZ's difficulty adjustments there as far as like how tough the AI are and things like that. Infill points are going to change as well. They're going to make it to where you're going to spawn in areas that a little less running you have to do as far as like trying to go find stuff. Which I mean that's good. However, they talked about a server wipe randomly, like out of nowhere. I guess that happened today. Which for that style of shooter, that extraction shooter. I mean, we see it with Tarkov and various other extraction shooters to where they will do server wipes and everything you have is just gone and you start fresh. It's not that surprising, but at the same token, it is quite surprising because they didn't even talk about that being a potential possibility, from the beginning. When they first talked about DMZ and all the features and all that stuff, not once have they mentioned the potential of there being server wipes. So a lot of people were pretty upset about that because they feel like they've just grinded all this stuff for no reason. And I kind of feel that. I think it's kind of stupid in that regard. Um, but it allows everybody to kind of start fresh. And considering the fact that this is still technically in beta, like the DMZ is still in beta, and obviously they're still making a lot of changes to it and how they wanted to go about it, things like that. Uh, you know, I'm not super shocked by it. Multiplayer, they didn't really touch multiplayer all that much. Which I mean, look, we all know Warzone 2. That's their moneymaker. That's their focus. That's what most people are playing, obviously. So that's all they care about at the end of the day. But again, they mentioned the whole audio inclusion thing. 5 new weapons coming in the new season. I think like 2 new maps, if I'm not mistaken, as well. They didn't actually mention what the weapons are or the maps, but um, oh, one of the biggest things that I found interesting. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this. Twitter polls to decide what playlist is going to be in the regular rotation, right? So every week they change out like the playlist that's going on at the time, to where it might be, for example, 24/7 shipping, it might be 24/7 shoot house. In the past we saw shoot the ship, obviously. It might be you mosh pit, it might be all kinds of different stuff, right? um However, as Jeff kind of pointed out in his tweet, the problem with some of them is that you'd still get kind of crappy maps in them. And not that Shoe House is a bad map, because it's really not. I don't really like the way it plays in Modern Warfare 2. Like, I think it plays better in 2019. But the problem with that is that with Shoot the Ship, you get Shoot House and you get Shipment. However, literally 90% of the time you were on Shoot House, you would almost never get Shipment. And if you did get Shipment, you were joining like mid game, because everybody's obviously trying to back out. Everybody's backing out of the shoot house to just go join shipment. So then while people are backing out of shoot house, that's less, like if you stick around in the shoot house game, that's less people you have to fight at that point, and it's not great. So shoot the ship, I'm not the biggest fan of. I know it obviously kind of gives a bit of a rotation as far as, or a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just more of the, you're not just doing the same old all the time, right? Even if it is just those 2 maps, and even though you're mostly just going to play shoot house all the time, so again, at least gives that ability. But I just, again, I'm not a fan of that. But anywho, the whole reason why I bring this up, I find it very interesting that, Infinity Ward is saying, hey, we're going to let you guys pick each and every week via a Twitter poll on what you want the playlist to be. Which, the only issue I could potentially see with that is the same playlist is just going to get picked all the time, right? People are just going to vote for the same thing. So obviously they're going to have to switch up the poll to where they add different playlists in there, or just have different playlists in there altogether. Because then otherwise people are just constantly always going to rotate between shoot the ship and 24/7 shipment. That's all it's ever going to be. So it'll be interesting to see, what ends up happening there, how that goes about. I think it's kind of cool that they're trying to get the community involved and showcase that they're listening to us, which I think has been the biggest concern everybody's had with, you know, with this game and Call of Duty and Infinity Ward, um, is that they just don't seem to care at the end of the day. So it's interesting. I'm actually pretty excited for the new season. I'm excited to try it. I'm excited to play it. I played Warzone 2 the other night. I hated it. It was miserable. Didn't have fun. So now that we're gonna make these changes and kind of go back to more Warzone 1 mechanics and things like that, I'm excited. I'm excited. They did talk about some gun changes as well. I forgot to mention that. We have no idea what or anything like that. So as long as they change the meta, man, because the whole RPK, Fennec, MP5, like, it's just boring. So as long as they're able to switch that up a little bit and kind of add more of a dynamic feeling to things, then I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm chilling. But all that's gonna end up happening is the same thing we saw with Warzone 1. It just means that there's gonna be the next meta weapon that's gonna dominate the scene for a couple months, and then finally they'll update it and make it a different gun and so on and so forth. That's just the lay of the land, man. You kind of get used to it with these guys. That's just how it be. That's just how it be. But Again, man, it'll be fun. I hope, anyways. I'll definitely check it out. And hopefully it kind of helps create a new dynamic to the game because I feel like right now, content wise, the game is kind of boring. Especially for Warzone. Because you're just kind of doing the same thing every day, man. Like it's no different. Like either you're going for a nuke or you're going for a nuke. Like like that's it, right? Like playing the game, it's boring because again, if you're not running RPK, Fennec as as your main loadout, and pretty much if you're not running the RPK, you're kind of screwed. You're gonna get outgunned in most gunfights, unless you're just really good at the game, obviously. Then you're probably gonna win some. Um, but again, just with the way a lot of the game works, man, its play style it currently favors the more casual audience, which you know, I mean, is kind of good in some ways and kind of bad in others. So again, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But all in all, I'm excited. I'm excited. It should hopefully be good. I think good changes. It's good to see that they're gonna revert back to some old things and yeah, we'll see what the future holds there. All right, so next the last week we got to see the premiere of the Last of Us series on HBO. This week we got episode 2. If you guys haven't watched and you don't want to be spoiled or anything like that, I'm gonna put a timestamp down below as far as to when I'm gonna be done talking about it. And then transition to the next topic. So, feel free to skip ahead to that point. But you have seen it. You're curious on my thoughts and takes and things like that. Hell of an episode. Hell of an episode. I think everything they've done so far has been incredible. I think as a whole, it's been a great show. This week we got to see, their take on the clickers, which is incredible. Super gross, but man, I mean the makeup design for that is insane. Um, and obviously the movements, the sounds, and everything. Like, oh, dude, like chills, actual chills, man. Um, but yeah, I mean, hell of an episode. It still kind of hits you right in the feels. Obviously, with with tests and everything. And if you played the game and you obviously know how it all works and it all goes down. And one of the things I found interesting though, and I kind of question a little bit, the end of the episode, the end of the episode. So, uh, you know, Tess obviously sacrifices herself because she's been infected and all that stuff. But what's interesting is the fact that she has the clicker walk up to her, and the clicker has the fungus just go into her mouth, and like the clicker like doesn't go absolutely ballistic when he sees her either. Like that whole sequence and dynamic was very strange to me. Um, I didn't really get that. It was also extremely gross. Like I kind of had to look away. Not gonna lie. Um, yeah, I didn't really get that at all. But um, it's interesting. It's interesting. Good. Some positive takeaways though. Right. So the openings, right, from both episodes are probably two of the most horrifying things about the show so far. Like the opening from the first episode, right, talking about how you know if uh if fungus could adapt or survive with like humans body internal body temperature, how screwed we would all be. um that that was a chilling opening. And then obviously you get this, the opening to the second episode that kind of shows you where it all started, where everything stemmed from, as far as the how the infection started and stuff. Which also really good, right? Like also super chilling. Like hey, there's no vaccine, nothing you do, just start bombing. Like damn. Yeah, it's just absolutely nuts, man. But it was a hell of a just a hell of an episode. Altogether. Uh Bella, I forget her last name. Is it Ramsey? I hope that's her last name. I'm sorry if I get that wrong, but Ellie's, actress, she she's kind of warmed up to me a little bit more. After this episode, I think she did a lot better. First episode, I was a little iffy. You know what I mean? Like some of the things with her felt a little forced, but um, I think it was a little bit better portrayed and things like that in the second episode, and I'm sure that's only just going to get better as we continue forward. But uh, the scene where they're on the rooftop and they're overlooking the city and everything, and they talk about the view and take it in. I mean, another perfect example of how well they've been able to take stuff from the video game, throw it into this show, and have it be word for word, shot for shot, camera angles be the same. Like it's just so cool, man. So cool to see all that. And hey, finally the video game adaptation curse, I think, has been broken. Obviously, you could argue that like the Sonic movies were pretty successful. Rocky started obviously with the design of the Sonic character and stuff, um but yeah, man, I mean, just hell of a show so far. Hell of a show. It has been so good. And um just everything about it. Everything about it from beginning to end. I just don't know how you get better. I really don't. I really don't. Um, but I'm along for the ride, man. I'm along for the ride. I think it's going to continue to pull out the strings. I think it's going to continue to you know be just some great storytelling, man. And oh man, I can't wait for Sunday. I think Sunday is going to be another great episode, and should be good, man. Should be good. But it's again, it's interesting on like how they're taking the direction and the narrative of it. And they've obviously tweaked some things here and there as far as the storytelling goes and stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, again, it's been a hell of a time so far. It's been a hell of a time. And yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. But we'll see how it continues. We'll see how it progresses. Obviously, if you haven't played the video games, you're not familiar, you don't know what's going on. Um, then this is a whole new experience for you. Which I mean, that's kind of cool to kind of think about as well. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's been great. Been great so far. I'm excited to continue. I think it's like 9 or 10 episodes or something like that. I know Lambert and I were talking about that on last episode, and um, yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna win an award for costume design, makeup, whatever. It's definitely gonna at the very least get nominated, but it probably should get an award. Um, and I mean the score, like the music has been great. Again, just the overall portrayal of the characters. And oh, I did see a thing today. Like the question was asked, whether or not we would see a second season for the show, and they asked Bella. Again, I believe it's Bella Ramsey. Is her last name, but they asked her, you know, what's the chances, and her answer was a solid answer. It was, well, if they keep watching, then yeah, probably. um, which makes sense. Apparently, nothing's in the works right now yet for a second season, but I hope, man. I hope one could just hope and dream that we get to see that, and if and when that happens, man, we're then obviously we're on to some good stuff there. Because then, I mean, at that point, I'd imagine they just take the storyline from the second game and adapt it into there. Which second game, I'm a little iffy on, but definitely not as good as the first. But it's still not bad and still a decent story. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Should be good. Should be good. I saw it. Funny enough, actually, now that I think about it, I saw a thing. Um, I don't know how true it is, but apparently, oh God, I'm trying to remember her name. Ashley Johnson. No, that doesn't sound right. Whoever plays as Ellie, in the games, uh, she is apparently going to be in one of these episodes as like Ellie's mom. Literally gonna like play as her. I saw that somewhere. I don't remember where I saw that. I think I saw that on Facebook. But so that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Like when I see her, I'll recognize her because I've seen the videos of like the mocap and stuff like that they did for the game. But that'll be pretty cool. That'll be pretty cool to see. But we'll see how it all goes down. See how it all goes down. But speaking of Sundays, man. So on to sports, on the NFL. So this past weekend we saw the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We had Bills versus Bengals, which, man, I mean, yikes, yikes. Bengals did, or I'm sorry, the Bills rather, did not play good football. It kind of looks like the traditional Bills that we've seen in the playoffs. Throughout the years. Um, and then of course, flip side of the ball, the Bengals looked like the best team in the NFL. They looked incredible. Obviously playing some tremendous football. In some cold weather, dealing with snow, Burrow throwing the ball all over the place, man. He was super accurate. And flip side, obviously the Bills, they struggled, man. They struggled a lot offensively. Um, so that was the playoff bracket that got busted. Because that was that night one? No, that was I actually don't even remember now. I don't remember if that was Saturday or Sunday's game. But anywho, I think it was Saturday's game. It was. It was Saturday's game. No, no, Sunday. Sunday. Sorry. A lot going on. Anyway, but yeah, no. So you know, it's just a lot of question marks there, right? Like it's just a lot of stuff. He kind of makes you sit there and go what do they need to get to the next step? And there's a thought that Stephon Diggs might be gone. He might be looking to leave. Um, which would be interesting. Be interesting to see that. Um, we also had this game. We also had this game. Uh, Niners and Cowboys. And Brock Purdy, man, he played a great. He played. I wouldn't say great game. He played a very good game, right? He was proficient enough to get the job done, which was awesome to see. Um, and did enough to be able to help put the team in a position to win that game. Obviously, their defense was incredible, though. I mean, their defense played lights out. They got pressure on Dak consistently, forced him to make turnovers and um, or to give up turnovers, I should say, and which has kind of been Dak's problem most of the year. Is just maybe trying to do a little bit too much. That was one of the big things that was talked about heading into the game, and again, just absolutely incredible stuff from them. Um, Very questionable play call at the end of the game, where I don't understand that formation at all. Having Zeke be the only guy on the line, he snaps the ball, and then uh you throw the ball in the middle of the field, not even behind any of the linemen that are on the right side of the field. It was just all very. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. But and Brett Maher, man, holy cow! I know that that first kick was blocked, but and they even talked about it during the broadcast. Even if it wasn't blocked, that was going way left. It was going way left with the way he kicked it. So yeah, I mean that was just a lot of question marks from Dallas, man. Um, just didn't really get it. And then Mike McCarthy, man. I know they said they're going to stick with him. He's going to continue to be the guy. I don't think he should be. Truthfully, I don't even think he's a good coach. Just gonna say it, throwing it out there. I just a lot of question marks. Um, you also had Chiefs Jaguars. Jags kept it close, man. And obviously, helped their cause that we saw the injury to Patrick Mahomes where hurt his ankle there. Missed a little bit of the game and then came back, but wasn't the typical Patty Mahomes that we've seen, right? Like the constant moving around on his feet, moving around in the pocket, outside of the pocket, and being a multi-dimensional guy. Again, just not really something we've fully seen that game from him. Because again, I mean, that's not we're not used to that. We're we're used to the guy that makes these highlight plays and things like that. But obviously, when you go down with an injury, it changes everything, right? And personally, man, with the way that injury went down, I'm actually quite surprised that he didn't get seriously hurt. I'm quite amazed by that. But the Jags still kept it close. I mean, they were in a good position to win that game. And they kind of just gave it away. But um, I mean, two of the biggest takeaways from that game was obviously one, Patty Mahomes. What's the injury status, right? Like, how we looking for a tough Cincinnati team. Um, it's where you kind of have to be 100%. Uh, and then the Jags, man, another piece or two, and I'm telling you that team's going to be tough to beat. Team's going to be tough to beat. You got a young core there, both on offense and on defense, that now has playoff experience, right? Which is it means a lot to a team. And that knowledge is so. I mean, it's so big to have that and to have that kind of experience as well, especially as a young group of players. Um, it'll be very interesting to see how they progress and move forward with their decision making and who they could potentially bring in. Doug Peterson, man, give the guy credit, man. He took a team that was in pretty rough shape with the whole Urban Meyer situation, and I mean, you know turning around, going to the playoffs, upset the Chargers, and I mean they almost pulled it out against the Chiefs too, man. So um so shout out them, dude. They could be a team that you kind of got to watch out for years to come. But uh, then the only other game for the weekend was the Eagles and Giants, and I mean that was no contest. That was no contest. The Eagles pass rush was too good. Eagles passed passed like their secondary was incredible. Guys could not get open. They couldn't run the ball. Like it was, and then on offense they played phenomenal football. It was almost completely mistake free, and had no issues. So, um, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, dude, they played incredible. And it's a shame because heading into the weekend, man, I don't think they were getting enough respect. I really don't. People were talking about, oh, hey, watch out for those Giants. They may upset you. And on top of that, again, I just feel like the Eagles were just kind of looked at as like, yeah, they're probably gonna win, but like they might not. There's a good chance they might not. Um, Yet, this was arguably the best team in football this year, right? Like obviously everybody wants to talk about the cheats and cheats, the Chiefs and how likely they were to, to get as far as they have so far and potentially go on and win the Super Bowl. Especially as the season's progressed and we've seen the level of productivity we've seen on them. But I mean, I personally, I think if Jalen Hurts is healthy the entire season, I think he's MVP. You know, and that defense, man. I mean that is one of the best Philadelphia defenses I think we've ever seen. Um, might even be the best. You know, the pass rush, the secondary, the rushing defense, everything about that defense is just so well rounded and so well oiled. Obviously, going out and picking up veterans like Ndamukong Suh, for example, like obviously that was huge to them as well and a massive benefit. And yeah, I mean, dude, they are just too good, too good. But now you head into this matchup, which is gonna be interesting, man. Niners versus Eagles. Not what we had in our bracket here. But um, I think the Cowboys Niners was a bit of a sneak peek as to what we might see in this matchup. Obviously, you're playing at the Lincoln instead of playing in San Fran, so I mean that's a huge difference in and of itself. But Brock Purdy, the big talk around him has always been, I mean, he's not looking like the last pick in the draft, obviously, right? He's looking like he might actually be able to do something in this league, and not only that, but he's been consistent, right? Like he's been performing well. I think the Cowboys defense was his first real test to see how well he can be that guy for San Fran, and Philly's defense is a whole nother animal. That's a whole nother beast, but we'll see what happens there. Because again, I still think he played a decent enough game. Um, so we'll see. I think that pass rush is going to be relentless, but I think the Niners are going to be expecting that, obviously. So, how well can they get guys like CMC involved and George Kittle and Debo? Like, they're playmakers. How well can you get those guys involved in the game and hopefully, they can kind of give you some production, wherever. To at that point, excuse me. To at that point, then open things up more for them, right, and kind of be able to open up the playbook, so to speak. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited. I still think the Eagles win that game. Um, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners keep it close, man. Wouldn't be shocked. Would not be shocked, especially with how good their defense is as well. And then if they can force a couple turnovers, man, I mean it's a whole different ball game. And Philly has shown that you know, they definitely have times where they don't play mistake free football. So it'll be that'll be a fun matchup to watch. And then you got on the other side arguably the game of the year potentially, with the you know Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and on paper at least game of the year, right? But game of the year probably has to go to the Minnesota Buffalo game. That game was nuts earlier this year. But anyway, um, we're two titans of teams right now, right? So you have Joe Burrow who is playing out of his mind, even with him getting hit on every single play and getting rushed on every single play. He's still playing some tremendous football. The running game is working really well for them. Jamar Chase has proven that he's a tough guy to guard. And then even defensively, they're actually they're holding their own, man. They're actually playing some solid defense. And then on the flip side of the ball, you got the Chiefs, where everybody questioned, man, like what were they going to do without Tyreek? Well, they're proving that they can do quite a bit, right? Between Travis Kelsey and Isaiah Pachenko and and the rest of the guys on the team, like it just as a whole, you have guys that could be very good playmakers. I know, obviously, Juju and Valdez Scaling, they were big receiver targets that they went out and got, as well as Kadarius Toney. And I mean, none of them have really done anything super major for the year, and they all probably expected to do a little bit more, but excuse me. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is that as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy enough to be able to play this game, how effective can he be, right? I mean, but from everything I've seen and looking at, he's gonna play one way or another. I mean, even you even kind of saw that when he got hurt, like, and the dude's hobbling around on one leg. He can't even really run anywhere, and yeah, he's still out there on the field, right? Still doing his thing. So again, we'll see what happens there. Obviously, that's a pretty big situation to kind of keep an eye on as we get closer to game day. Um, but as long as he is healthy and effective, I mean, again, he does have some weapons that he can kind of spread the ball around to, which is it's obviously pretty key too. So um, that should be interesting, man. It should be a fun matchup. I think both will be great matchups. I still think we get the Kelsey Bowl. You know what I mean? I still think you get Eagles versus Chiefs, um, which will be fun, man. It'll be fun to see it, and personally, I'm excited. I'm excited to really just to watch all the games, right? Just to see how all the games go down, and hopefully, they manage to keep us all entertained, and none of them are a blowout, and should be good times. Should be good times. But anywho, guys, that's gonna do it for the episode. I know it's a little bit shorter of an episode. Typically, most of our episodes kind of go for at least an hour, a little bit longer. We're coming up on the hour mark, but when it's just me talking, I'm not having somebody else talk and obviously take up their time, and this. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so tired. This obviously brings a whole new dynamic and a whole new element to it. So, guys, as always, man, I appreciate you all. I appreciate y'all for watching, man, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Leave a like on it. If you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the broadcast, trust us, it helps us way more than you may imagine. Same thing with subscribing, man. Subscribe to the channel if you find yourself coming here regularly. Do all the YouTube stuff, and, follow the socials and yada 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 yada. But anyway, again, that's gonna do it. Hopefully next week we got Lambert back here with us, and we get to have fun together and kind of tag team this together. But as always, man, it was an absolute pleasure. Stay safe out there. Kind of one another, love one another. Adios, peace out. Catch you guys in the next one.